Hey, it's October 24th, and I have 2 roomies to do a movie review. What even is this? The 3 of us just went and saw The Foreigner, which is a new Jackie Chan movie that just came out, and I'll be in charge of plot synopsis. The idea is really simple. It is a classic, vendetta film. Jackie Chan has a daughter who gets killed in a bombing, and he goes after relentlessly the people who did the bombing. And of course, he's equipped with a very special set of skills, because he's not just a father, he is ex-US Special Forces, because that's the way that it also works in films. What does Liam Neeson do? I'm a man with a very special set of skills.
With a particular set of skills,
yeah, that's
yes.
Right.
Basically, Jackie Chan is Liam Neeson in this movie.
And Jackie Chan just literally is a man with a particular set of skills, all of which get used in this film. And so he tracks down the bombers and, spoiler alert, succeeds and just kicks a lot of butt in the whole film. So we're going to talk about just a few things. The first thing I want to talk about is the villain in this film. So it's set in London.
Present day London, because that's kind of a big deal.
Yes, present day London. And so the villain, which often, especially in current films, the Russians tend to be the bad guys, because it's pretty easy to pick on them. And then every once in a while, it's Arabic terrorism.
Yeah.
But that was not the case this time. This was actually the IRA, or the Ireland Republic. No.
Is it the Irish Republic Army?
Irish Republic Army.
Irish Republic Army. So the reason that it's the IRA, because I was reading about this earlier, is this is based off of a book that came out in 1992 when the IRA was going around and blowing up buildings and a lot of things like that. So since this is based off of that book, they kind of kept the villain, even though the IRA, while still kind of existent, has basically kind of laid down arms. So...
And for those of you who don't know, the IRA is basically the freedom fighters for Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland does not want to be part of the UK, and they consider themselves separate, and there have been often violent and bloody conflicts between them and the English as a result of them not wanting to be part of that country.
They tend to really want a unified Ireland again, and they eventually accomplished peace-ish. Back in, I believe, the mid-90s is when everything kind of calmed back down again.
Yeah, it was in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So that was cool. It made it a very different take, and certainly gave me different villains than I've been used to seeing, in that it was fun to see something different, and I really appreciated that in the film, that it didn't take the easy way out of most of these films as far as villains go. The next thing is the cinematography. And I'll let Andrew touch on this.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of very close-ups, for fight sequences, kind of that Jason Bourne-esque in some of the fight scenes, which is that kind of rugged, when it needs to be. There are wideouts when there's like impressive stunts, like things that are swinging out or things that are traps that he had set and things of that nature. Also, the visual is very dark, not much color except for maybe fall weather out in the farm. Is probably about the only bright colors in the film would be grass and red leaves, because other than that, there's a lot of dark browns, grays. When they're in the city in the UK, it's a lot of concrete, which is how that is. So a lot of their location shots are very dismal. But it works because it's not a very happy movie, so I think it works for the film they're going for. So.
Yeah, it should be mentioned that even the vehicles are all dark colors.
Yes.
Dark blue, grays, blacks. There's not a red sports car or anything
With
to be
government
seen.
vehicles, you're going to get a lot of blacks.
Yeah, but even when he's driving in the streets, even the guy who cuts him off in the beginning of the film.
It's a darker
is in
Well,
a
it's a
Silver.
silver car.
So
Yeah.
it's still
Like a gray-
not colorful.
Yeah.
I would say though at the very beginning of the film you had a lot of color, like really at the beginning when they're at the high school and
when
she's
he
going
picks
to
her up,
get
yeah.
the dress, and then from the moment that explosion happens, it's like no longer vibrant. So
I
maybe I was just reading into that, or maybe
No,
I
I
think
think
that's
that
a
was a
choice.
conscious choice,
Yeah.
and it was a good
Yes.
choice. I really, really appreciated that. Clearly, you can't discuss a Jackie Chan movie without talking about martial arts. And the first thing I want to mention before I turn it over to Amber is I read a great interview with Jackie Chan where he talked about how he's getting old and how he doesn't feel like he can do as much. And so in this film, he didn't really do that many stunts or that much fighting. And I would just like to talk about the fact that Jackie Chan's idea of not doing that many stunts means he does more fighting than most people in most action films.
Right. I would definitely say, like, I've seen Jackie Chan movies growing up forever because my dad is very much into martial arts and things like that as well. And honestly, yeah, you can tell that he's getting older. There's not as much action. And in this movie in particular, like, he definitely, you could tell, still did his own stunts, but there weren't as many as, say, some of the, well, I can't say more recent ones, but like Shanghai Noon and some of those where he's hanging off the side of a London bus. Like, things like that. There's definitely not as many action stunts, but he's still incredibly limber for a 70-year-old, and it definitely kind of, I would say, attunes to the idea, like, martial arts keeps your body moving and keeps you limber, and it's very much a mind over matter kind of situation. And whenever you watch a Jackie Chan movie, at the end you see the bloopers, and usually it's him falling down and getting hurt. So, like, I'd be interested to see if, like, on the DVD, if they have any of that on this one as well. But even so, it's like just different stunts that he was doing. I mean, when he went up against the guy who's probably 40 years his junior,
yeah.
and you see the choreography of them matching each other like blow for blow almost, because the other guy was trained in special forces as well. It's just interesting to see, like, he can still keep up and still keep, you know, kicking butt and taking names. So
He jumps off a roof and he
Yes.
leaps between two sides of a staircase.
and between two sides of a stream, which I was more impressed at because he kind of like went through like some branches and such.
Oh yeah, the
And,
branches
yeah.
is really cool.
And he definitely caught himself because he was about to fall off of the roof at one point, and he catches himself like under his arm, like back here, and I'm like, that would just rip my arm out of the socket, so that's fine. And then
Yeah.
one of the ones that stood out to me is he's in a knife fight with one of the bombers, and he gets hit, but then he grabs a shirt or towel or something and is able to disarm the bomber and flip him over his shoulder. And that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
So.
Very impressive.
Yes.
Like, I am not that limber now, so I
Yeah.
think at 70 I won't be. Andrew, definitely.
I've never been that limber.
I mean,
Andrew limped out of
Yes.
the theater when we were done with the movie because he's
It's
gotten
true.
sticks in there.
I was that limber once. I might be again one day.
I have faith.
Thank you.
So, killing for a good cause is the next thing I wrote down. One thing is that clearly these IRA bombers who are very misguided believe in what they're doing, but I found it interesting that Jackie Chan's character did not kill anyone until
Yes.
he got to the actual bombers, and then he killed them all.
Yes. He, like, there's a part
Almost
where...
all of them.
Yeah,
That's true.
There's a part where they pan into Pierce Brosnan, who's the other main character, into his study, and you see this dog that's not moving on the ground. You're like, no, he didn't kill the dog. And then he's like, no, the dog's fine, and it'll wake up in a few hours. And I'm like, perfect, because
You can't kill the dog.
Well, that, and he didn't want to harm anyone who was, even if they weren't completely innocent, like they were, you know, more
Sort of
innocent than he needed information, and you don't kill people if you need information.
That's true. You kill them after you
Yes.
get the information, which
Yep.
also happened in
Yeah.
that film.
But not from Jackie.
Not from Jackie Chan. No,
That's
he
true.
just went in and
He did a lot of
Yeah.
warning
yes,
bombs. A lot
yes.
of warning bombs.
yes,
Yeah, there was a lot of bombing in this film.
a lot of bombing.
Yeah,
And
because
some very
the
scary.
terrorists set off 3 bombs, and
and killed a lot of civilians.
yes, and Jackie Chan set off also 3 bombs. 4?
Because there was the barn, there was the car,
The barn, the car, and the bathroom.
and the bathroom.
Okay, so
three.
3 for 3.
Yeah, so he also set off 3 bombs, which killed no one.
Right.
which is to show you how bombing should be done. No.
When you go bomb things, do it to not murder people.
I will state...
It was equally as effective. He got the people to give him exactly what he wanted. He got the problem solved and no one had to die. Versus the bombs that killed a bunch of civilians ended up with the people who set them being dead and nothing resolved. Just saying.
Yeah.
I will say that the bombing is displayed in a very certain way. Kind of definitely make you uncomfortable. Because it is innocent civilians. They very particularly show like a family getting on the bus and like, you know, running to catch the bus that gets bombed. There's an aftermath sequence, which is where it sets the tone for the film, because you had the bright colors, the bombing, and then a photographer coming in to take photos of the victims. And then he goes to take a photo and he stops himself, and it's Jackie Chan's character holding his dead daughter in his arms crying. And it just kind of brings that, you know, the weight of a terror attack. But kind of uncomfortable too. Like, I don't know that I was comfortable with seeing it in the movie, in an action film. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning in different ways on that. But
bombing especially is like very current event.
Right.
And I think that's part of what makes it so rough.
it hits close to a nerve, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so our final bit, of course, is your rating and recommendation. So out of 5 stars, how many do you give it?
I give it a 3. I think I'd give it a 3 out of 5. It's worth seeing. It's not the greatest action film, and it's certainly not the greatest terrorist film I've ever seen. But it's clean. It's effective. If you like, you know, that style of film, or you're a big Jackie Chan fan, it's definitely worth seeing. I mean,
Amber?
I am also going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. I think that it had a good pacing. It had good scenes. It made me think a little bit about different things. And I'm a huge Jackie Chan fan as well. So I like anything with Jackie Chan. So I would say 3.
I'm also going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. Look at us just being mind melding right here.
I mean, it's not an elite film, but it was
It was fun. It was
definitely, it was good. I really liked the way that it was shot. That especially for me, like the way that it was shot was really cool. And I thought that it had a solid like plot from beginning to end and tied up loose ends. And I also liked that sort of no one came out a winner, which I felt was more realistic than a lot of these films.
Yeah, I also actually really like the Pierce Brosnan character because he wasn't outwardly a villain. Mm-hmm. Like, things didn't go the way he thought they were going to go, and he got screwed by other people. So he's still a bad guy, but it went in a completely different direction. So, like, all these different characters, you kind of thought he was going to be the overarching villain, and I don't believe that he really was.
Yeah, it's really funny because the only character that I really liked and thought was a decent person also shot someone in cold blood, like almost at the end of the film. And
this is
still
true.
I liked him.
Yeah, this is valid.
I don't blame him though.
No, he's
because he did what he had to do to
follows orders.
protect him, protect himself.
Mm-hmm.
It eliminates evidence of things and it cleans his slate. So,
yep,
I get it. And someone screwed him over and he got him back too. So
Truth.
All right. Well, that's it from us. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.